New Carlisle City Council, the regular meeting, Monday, April the 7th, 2014, at 7 p.m. will now come to order, please. We have a roll call, please.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. Zambach.
Present.
Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Mr. Rick Lowry. Here. Mr. Kraybach. Here. Mr. Mike Lowry.
Here.
All present.
Okay, before we go any farther, if you have a cell phone, could you please put it on vibrate or turn it off, please? It'll interrupt the meeting. We'd certainly appreciate it. Invocation by Councilman Bill McIntyre. Would you all stand, please?
Let us pray. Lord, thank you for allowing us to meet in a democratic society where we elect our leaders and can vote on issues. Please guide us to make the right decisions that will most benefit the future of our town. We thank you for an end to this brutal winter and that spring is finally here. We ask you to be with those suffering, especially the families of Fort Hood, and most especially with the families and friends of the young men recently lost from our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to use a flag in the back of the room. If you turn around, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everyone for being here this evening. Thank you. We have a lot of shining new faces. Good seeing everyone. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at the appropriate time, if you would, please. Okay, we need action on the minutes of regular meeting, March 17th, 2014, please.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kraybach, second by Mr. Reynolds. No discussion?
If you would, any discussion on the minutes? Anyone? Okay, if you would, please, Mr. Kaiser.
Mr. Rick Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Kraybacher. Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zambach.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we just ask if you have a cell phone, please turn it off, put it on vibrate, please, so we don't interrupt the meeting. Those of you who just walked in, if you would, please. Communications.
Can I ask that we go to item B, since Mrs. Fox Wilson isn't here at the time, and then we could go back if she
We
should
certainly
have to
could.
come? Okay.
Okay, we have communication from Mr. Donald
Warner.
Warner, the Executive Director of Australian Service for Youth, please. If you would, please, Mr. Warner. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I want to extend thanks to you, Mayor, for allowing this opportunity, and Mr. Krabacher for getting the ball rolling, and Kim for putting us on the agenda. So thank you all very much. Ocean Services for Youth is a faith-based organization. We've been in Springfield, Ohio for 111 years, since 1903. We were, a few months ago, searching for an opportunity to provide a visitation center in the city of New Carlisle, and that's how we came to meet with John and his pastor. And from that opportunity arose this opportunity. So John's interest became piqued, I think, when we reached out with respect to a visitation center for children that have been abused or neglected in our county. And we were looking for an opportunity to do that for Clark County Department of Jobs and Family Services. That didn't come to fruition as we had hoped, but the opportunity for us to be able to perhaps provide some services to New Carlisle in a manner greater than what we're presently doing, I think is the purpose of this meeting. So we appreciate that opportunity. Just real quick history, we're located on 100 acres in Springfield on the corner basically of Home Road and Mechanicsburg, Home Croft Road and Mechanicsburg. We started out as an orphanage and then evolved to basically a mental health, community-based mental health and foster care and residential treatment program. And tonight I brought with me Adam Sorensen. He's our coordinator for our community counseling program, and Dr. Kate Bacon, who is our clinical clinical director, sorry. And so I'd like to turn it over to Adam and give him an opportunity to speak about our community-based program. And with that, I'll also, while he's starting to speak, I'll pass out information.
Well, like Don said, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come out and meet with you guys tonight. Our counseling center, we have 7 therapists who do a wide range of different kinds of counseling with different populations depending on their interest and area of expertise. We do already see some clients from New Carlisle area. One particularly heartwarming case is a young boy who's terminally ill and paraplegic and lives with his grandmother. And they couldn't drive all the way to Springfield to receive services. So one of our therapists agreed to come out and see him in their home. So that's the kind of people that we work with at Osterland. We've got a really big heart to serve, a real strong passion for meeting unmet needs. And so with that kind of heart comes a little bit of creativity with how we go about doing things. So we work in Springfield City Schools, and we started a program this past year over at London City Schools in Madison County. So we do try to reach out to where the needs are. So I am happy to have any kind of dialogue with anybody who perhaps may be aware of needs that are not being met with mentally and emotionally disturbed children and their families. So, Kate,
Good evening. I'd like to echo Adam and Don. We appreciate the opportunity to be here. I wanted to take just a minute and talk about some of our other programs besides the counseling center that might be of interest to you. We do have 2 home-based programs, and we routinely see families in the New Carlisle area with these 2 programs. One program is called Wraparound, and that program both programs serve families where there's some risk of out-of-home placement. There's stress in the family enough that we consider, can this family safely take care of this child? So that's the nature of the presenting problem that brings families to those 2 home-based programs. Wraparound uses a paraprofessional facilitator who comes into a home, works with the family to develop a strengths, needs, and culture assessment, and then draws together a team that works with the family to develop a plan using the strengths that they've found in the family and our community to solve the problems they've identified. The second program you might call Wraparound on steroids. So in the second program, intensive home-based treatment, instead of a paraprofessional facilitator, we used a trained therapist. Therapists have a caseload of 5, so that's a very intensive intervention. Those therapists work with families twice a week, up to 2 or 3 hours at a time, 2 or 3 times a week, for generally about 4 months, really working individually. The therapist works primarily, as opposed to having a team. The therapist works primarily with the family to increase the strengths that we find in the family, increase parenting skills. And both those programs are very successful. Wraparound is usually 90+% successful, keeping kids safely with their families. Intensive home-based treatment works with even a little more challenging families. Still, we're successful about 80% of the time. So just wanted you to know about those 2 programs. We did make packets. We made up about 20 of these that has information about Osterland. On the left-hand side, there's information about volunteering if you might have an interest in working with us, and some information about being a treatment foster parent. We have a foster parent agency, and if you have a heart for kids and feel that you might have a place for a foster child in your home, we'd love to recruit you. We're always looking for good homes. And then on the right side, we've got a brochure that tells about all of our community services programming and specific brochures for the wraparound program and our intensive home-based treatment program. If you have any questions about services that we're talking about here with you tonight, or creative ideas about ways that you think we might better serve your community, we'd be interested. And if you have any commentary tonight about unmet needs for kids and families that you're seeing in your community that we might think with you about, we'd be open to that discussion.
Council, anyone questions? John, go ahead.
One of the things that was brought to my attention is that in western Clark County, there's a high rate of the children being, I don't know how to say it, being taken away from their parents for one reason or another. Can you elaborate on the reasons why that is?
Well, children are separated from their parents, not by Osterlin, but by the Department of Job and Family Services, and Children's Services. Osterlin works very closely with Job and Family Services. We participate in a committee that's called Family Stability Committee, and we participate on a committee called Interagency Review. And I can tell you that Job and Family Services tries everything in their power to keep kids safely with their families whenever possible. However, if there is abuse and neglect, if the family is struggling enough that they can't safely care for their children, we have to separate. They will always try for a reunification plan. We do have problems in our county. We have some drug abuse and addiction problems that sometimes render parents unable to safely care for their children. And then there are other reasons why they are not always able to care. If there's a particular pocket of families who are experiencing those difficulties, I'm not aware of what the specific problems are there.
Does things like in our schools, there's over 50-some%, I don't know the exact number, of low-income students who take lunches, reduced lunches.
Yes.
Does that have a lot to do with that?
Certainly, poverty increases stress on families. We all know that. So when you have a high concentration of poverty and families who are struggling to meet basic needs, that stresses the functioning level of any family. So yes, certainly, that's a stress.
I was doing some research. I think all the time. When I was doing some research, they were talking about neighborhoods. Now, New Carlisle is known for their parks. We've got, I forgot how many acres of parks that they can go to. We put the bike trail out there, which I had when my kids were younger. And with my kids, we also went to the Y. But there's a lot of them that take advantage of that. Why is that? Can you decide?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about cycles of dysfunction in families, many times when we work with the parents of kids, for example, in our intensive home-based program, the wraparound program, we find that those parents were raised by parents with very low skills. So they were never exposed to many of the things that you and I might take for granted in terms of parenting skills, understanding a child's developmental level, understanding the resources in their community and how those might benefit their children. So very often what we see in parents who are not doing those things is a skill deficit which can be remedied.
So I guess my final question is, how can we, as elected officials, how can we get, help, that situation?
When families are identified, many times there are barriers. Transportation is often a barrier. So if there are ways that a community can help look with a family at what barriers there are to getting help, just making the connection. Let's call information referral and see what we can find for your problem. Making that connection, being a conduit between resources and families. I think those are things that community members could do.
I always believe families is the main thread for the community. That's why I raised 6 boys here, and a couple of them we had doubts that they were going to make it, but they did. They made it through. And we did take them to the Y. We did, they did participate. So.
Okay, why don't you talk about how you work with the family to build their skill levels and their
strength-based, engagement-based approach to its work, overarching, with children and families. Our very strong finding, and lots of research about this, is that families need to be approached in a compassionate way. They need to be approached in a respectful way. And if you approach in that way, families will open to you about their struggles. So we use that strength-based, engagement-focused approach, and we find that is very successful with families who have otherwise been pretty system-leery, pretty uncertain whether or not they would be badly judged if they came for help.
Okay.
John, what I would say too, is that most women would be more than happy if someone in the school system would give us a call and say, hey, our doors are open, we welcome you to come in and provide services, we'd be there in a heartbeat. Now, we have to do some resource building of our own in order to identify someone that can come out to the school and work with folks that need some attention. But we'd be willing to do that. And I'm not trying to say that Tecumseh School hasn't invited us. We have, in fact, been up to Tecumseh School. We do, in fact, provide services to some of your citizens here in this community. But we're willing to plant ourselves, if you will, in the school system to give us some assistance as well, if that could be orchestrated somehow.
Council, anyone else? Anyone? Audience, anyone? Question? Thank you all for being here very much. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all you do. We really do appreciate it.
Mayor, I do have a question.
I'm sorry, here we
Ma'am,
have one.
could I get your full name for the record?
Yes. Catherine, K-A-T-H-R-Y-N, it's a long last name, L-E, capital V as in Victor, E-S-C-O-N-T-E.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. All right, communications. We do have another one. We have a proclamation this evening. Proclamation is for April Fox Wilson of April's Pet Grooming. She's celebrating 20 years in business in the city of New Carlisle and still going strong. April, would you mind coming up so I can give you this and read it, please? Thank you, folks. Have a safe trip.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I don't need room right now. Thank you. She's about ready. That's true. Whereas on March 1994, April's Pet Grooming opened their doors for the first time, and whereas since the time April Fox Wilson and her employees have continued to provide high-quality pet grooming services at an affordable prices to the citizens of New Carlisle and the surrounding communities. And whereas April's Pet Grooming is celebrating 20 years of service in New Carlisle. And whereas the mayor and council, along with the administration of the city of New Carlisle, would like to recognize April's Pet Grooming and wish them continued success in the future. Now therefore, I, Lowell McLaughlin, mayor of the city of New Carlisle, Ohio, ask all citizens of the city of New Carlisle to join the mayor and council in congratulating April's Pet Grooming on 20 successful years of business and wish them to continue success in the future. Congratulations. I also wanted to thank Mr. Reynolds for bringing that to our attention, the council, and as well as the staff, and thank you for that, sir.
Anytime.
Okay, with city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, under the action report, I did want to give you an update on the Twin Creeks parcels. We have had the closing on 2 of the parcels. The other 28, we are still in the process of doing the title search. That is quite extensive. It's just going to go on for a while, longer than we thought. So we're still very optimistic on that, though.
That is something that will be handled, though, is that correct?
The title search
There
is
isn't a
actually,
problem with it?
the title search is actually done by the buyer and their attorneys,
Oh,
so.
I see.
So they're working on that still.
So they're just making sure there's no additional liens and so forth on the
Right,
property?
right.
Okay, thank you.
Under service discussion, Mr. Kitco, did you have anything you needed to bring up tonight?
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to let everybody know, the Durapatcher is out. We are doing pothole repairs. They are pretty extensive. I'm sure you've seen them driving around. We do plan a couple major repairs this year. They will not start until about May 1st. The asphalt plants open up next Monday, but by the time they get rolling, get good asphalt being produced, we're going to do it about a couple weeks after that. One of those spots is by Jeff's Automotive, that part of Church Street. We're going to temporarily patch it here either this week or early next, and then go ahead and cut it out curb to curb, that whole section. So you'll see about a 150-foot long by the width of the street of new asphalt in that area. And then the other item is our crossing warning signs for the bike path. I should be any day getting the approval from the feds for allocation of their money. We got our whole procedure straightened out. So any day I should hear from central office, and we will probably get those installed. Lead time once I order them is about 3 to 4 weeks. So once that's done, we'll get them in. And that's all I have.
Now, that's on 235 that we're
That's on
talking about.
235, yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right then, and
I'm
under,
sorry, we have some questions. I beg your pardon, Counselor, I forgot. John, go ahead, please.
By the silence, did you patch that by any chance? Any way for a piece of steel down or anything
on 571.
on 571?
We will probably be hitting that again. We already Durapatched it late last week, and as you see, it's sunk on the one side of it. So we went to Durapatch. Well, obviously we're going to do it today, but it rained, so it'll probably end up getting hit tomorrow. Yep.
Counselor, any other questions? Anyone? Mr. Kiko? Thank you, sir.
Okay, under informational, I wanted to introduce you all to our interim finance director, Mrs. Colleen Harris, who's here with us tonight. And I think I talked to you all individually, but I am hoping to name her as our permanent finance director. And in order to do that, we have legislation on the agenda later in the meeting, but it would also take a motion of council for her to be appointed with your consent. So that's what I'm asking for at this point.
Yes.
The motion that's already on, in addition to that, we do.
Right, there's there's an ordinance and there's a resolution. Those are two separate things. This is just to appoint her, and then we'll do the ones for the signatory and all of that.
Thank you.
Motion to appoint Colleen Harris as finance director.
Second.
Gene, I'm lost also, so that's,
I have too. I thought we had an ordinance on to do that
I
later.
did also, but evidently we're doing a little more
It is
than we need
redundant.
to, I don't know.
This is for us for income, correct?
No, she's already been working as the interim, so this is to make her the permanent finance director.
The way our charter reads is that the city manager makes the appointment with the consent of council. Whether that takes the form of a motion or an ordinance, I guess, doesn't matter. And
I
if we've
did
got
both.
two of them on the agenda, it doesn't really hurt to have both of them.
So what we're doing now is we're giving consent.
That's
That's what
correct.
we're doing with this that we're now voting on, so everyone understands, including myself. I don't know if
We don't do it often enough, thank goodness, that we know how to do it.
I would say her job pretty secure.
So we're actually going to vote 3 times for it now,
We're
right?
darn sure.
Boy, you are going to be solemn, there's no doubt about it.
So I have the motion by Mr. Rick Lowry and a second by Mr. Zambach. Okay. I'm still
Just do it.
If you would, when you're ready, sir.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry. Yes. Mr. Kraybach.
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Absolutely.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zambach.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
I know. 2 more votes.
Okay. Is
And
that it
that's all
for
I had
city
tonight, yes.
manager? Thank you,
Yes,
appreciate
thank you.
that. Any comments from members of the public? Anyone like to say anything? Now's the time. Okay, thank you. Committee reports? Any
None tonight.
All right, we'll go to resolutions. Mr. Collier, if you would, please.
Resolution 14-02R, a resolution tentatively rewarding the construction contract with the City of New Carlisle water meter upgrade project, pending approval by the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and the Ohio Water Development Agency pursuant to the WFRLA loan program.
Council?
Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Zandon.
move we adopt resolution 14-024.
Second.
And as an explanation of this resolution, I'm going to let Mr. Kitco explain it.
Council has already approved an ordinance for us to proceed with the loan and the procurement of the meter upgrade project, which for the city, we were not required to do this. However, the Ohio EPA and the Ohio Water Development Authority required us to do a resolution tentatively awarding Neptune is our meter upgrade contractor. What they will do upon passing this resolution is review this, review our bid, the low bid document, review our loan documents at their next board meeting, which I think is in the 3rd week of April. Once they do that, they will send it back for everything for Ms. Jones to sign, and that will be our official loan documents. Just an update, we had asked for $650,000 to install a mobile read system, which someone would drive around in a vehicle and collect the meter readings once a month or whenever we would need to via a vehicle. The low bid, and actually the company who we currently use for a metering system, they were able to offer us a fixed base system, which comes directly from the meter to the city offices, hourly, 24/7, 365, for their bid come in at $576,000. So we're well under what we had asked for in terms of money, and we got a much better system. That could fluctuate a little bit because we may run into some unknowns. There's people out there that could not be metered. We could find all kinds of things. So, but I just wanted to point that out, that we're able to get a very good system for a much less or a cheaper price.
Council questions? Yes.
How long will it take to have that system installed?
Approximately 6 months. They think they can, Neptune thinks they can do it in about 3 to 4. What they're going to do is do door knockers, call, set up appointments. They will do the whole setting the appointments up, do the install of the meters, any kind of plumbing requirements that are needed to get that meter in if a shutoff valve is broken. After about the 3rd or 4th time that they do not get in contact with someone, then us as the city, our utility clerk, will help get them in contact so we can get into homes. The ones that will be the hardest are our vacant properties, but they will end up giving us the meters, and then we'll just probably deduct from the contract, because if we got 70 vacants, we may not be able to get into those right away.
So I understand it's correct. He was looking for something where they walked around and held out for their term to go
Drove around.
and shot.
Drive around.
Okay, and then recorded, and you take it to city building and download it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but you don't do that anymore. You could just flip a switch and see how much water is running at the Lowry household or whatever, or how much was used in the last month.
We could do that at any time, any hour.
So therefore, you're saving higher wages of people riding around doing that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Amen. Mr. Lowry?
Howie, can you go over, I know there's a lot of young kids here today, but how detailed that metering will be as far as what you'll be able to read, as far as water goes?
The biggest issue, besides what we're trying to fix, an inaccuracy of meter readings, is the use of water. Teaching families how to conserve on water, because most of the time it's a shower. And people don't realize how much water they're using in a shower. And right now, we got to walk around and read the meters one time a month. But it doesn't give us any details on the hour. With this system, the meter reads to the 100th of a gallon. So if 100th of a gallon goes through your meter between 2 and 3, we'll be able to detect that and know if you got a leak toilet, leaky sink, and you may not even know it. Or they can say, hey, I had family in or whatever. We can say, well, between midnight and 6 a.m., you went through 3.5 gallons. Why? Because right now we get complaints of high water usage, and we kind of know what the issues are, toilets, things like that, but we can go down to the hour of when it happened, how it happened, and the exact amount. So the conservation and being able to fix those, helping the family reduce their bill in the future will be our goal here.
Thank you.
Is there any questions on this side? Mr. Lowry?
Brings me to another question that you just said. Now, in the bill, will there be a DPO readout of some kind, or would the resident have to request
The resident will have to request it.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, if they get a bill, which we get normally, they'll just call and say, hey, my bill's high.
Okay.
Right to the screen. It takes about a minute to print it up.
Okay.
And I'm not sure though if we'll have where each citizen can get online and view it. I don't know if that system's like that yet, but most of them are, where you can watch your water all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions here? Did you have a question?
I was gonna ask if there was gonna be some sort of website that the user could get.
So you just.
We're working on that part. Yep.
I do have one question. Is there going to be any fee for the homeowners for this installation and the meter?
There is not.
So up front, nothing to the homeowner?
No, there's no upfront for none of the meter work, and if there is homeowners here that have bad shut-off valves inside by their meter, we are going to fix those at no cost to the homeowner. Typically, those are the homeowner's responsibility, but we're going to repair those as part of the meter project for the ones that are bad.
Okay. It's a great benefit. Yes, John?
Just one question. The rental properties, are you going to have to contact the owner of the property? Then they're going to be responsible to contact the tenant? Or are you going to contact the tenant? Or contact?
What we will do is whoever the water account is in the name of, so some could be tenant, some could be landowner, but for instance, if a tenant doesn't respond to us, then we'll go to the landowner.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Any questions out here? Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they'll be putting these in between probably 7 and 5. They'll call you up and say, we're Neptune Company, we need to change your meter out, what's a good time? And they'll just try and work them. They say they do about 40 to 50 a day. So they're going to be pretty flexible. And they could be in and out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was probably her question. I think, wasn't it April? That was your question?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
You know, probably like that property, which I noticed had a lot of new plumbing in it. Yeah, 10 minutes maybe, 10, 15.
Good. Anyone else? Any other questions? Council? Staff? Anyone? Thank you again. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We haven't voted on that yet, have we? Would you like to do that?
I would. Or you would. Mr. Rick Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher. Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zambach.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Passed 7-0. Resolution 14-03R, a resolution authorizing Kimberly J. Jones and Howard Kitco, Colleen B. Harris, and Donna Cannon as signatories on all financial accounts of the city of New Carlisle, Ohio.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Zambo.
move we adopt resolution 14-03R.
Second.
Which one?
Doesn't have it.
Mr. McIntyre, second.
Okay, thank you.
And as explanation of this resolution, this is just part of what is required by the banks. They have to have copies of this in order for us to be able to continue signing checks and accounts payable with the new finance director. So this is 2 of 3 approvals for Colleen.
So just to let everyone know, we need to have 2 signatures on any check that goes out of the office.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Right.
To back up each other. Thank you. Council, any questions? Anyone? Anyone in the audience, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Yes,
Zambach.
sir.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher.
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
If you would go ahead with the ordinances when you're ready, sir.
I gotta get warmed up for
I
this one. This is a
understand.
long one.
Get your verbiage going.
Yes. Ordinance 14-12, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance to approve the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, to provide for the adoption of new matter and the updated and revised codified ordinances, to provide for the publication of such new matter, and to repeal ordinances in conflict therewith.
Council.
Mr. Mayor, move to adopt ordinance
14-12.
Second.
And this is a boilerplate ordinance we do every year whenever we have to give the American legal permission to codify our ordinances. We are doing this on a monthly basis, which as opposed to we used to do it once a year, once every 2 or 3 years. We now do it every month so that online our ordinances are updated monthly. We get the hard copies once a year.
Questions? Yes, Mr. Mike.
So basically, I know this is worded in a very interesting manner, but basically, if we pass something that says you can't do X or now you can do Y, and I'm a small business owner, I want to know if I can open a shop in New Carlisle and do that, I can go on and read all the ordinances, or if I want to make an addition to my property, I can look at that, and I know it's the most up-to-date document available. So
It'll
it's,
have the date on the
Yeah.
bottom of each section as to when it was last revised. So, you know, you can see some of them say 2014.
so it streamlines it for everyone else who may not be able to make it to a council meeting or have access to some of the archives of older meetings. So.
Anyone else, council? Anyone in the audience, any questions? You would, sir?
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher?
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry?
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Zambach?
Yes.
Passed 7-0. Ordinance 14-13E, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with DPL Energy Resources for generation supply services for use in the city of New Carlisle, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Council?
Adopt ordinance 14-13.
Second.
Both Mr. Lowry's.
This is a renewal of our DPL Energy Resource contract. It will expire early May. That's why we had to do it as an emergency. They need it back in their office by the 25th of April. In the past, we had done one ordinance for the street lighting and for the generation of the electricity, and since Miami Valley Lighting is now the company that we go to for the lighting, it's 2 separate ordinances this time. But basically, it's just a renewal, and this will go until 2017.
Any questions? Council? Mr. Craybaugh?
If the thing on the ballot for the aggregate passes, and they come with a lower rate, would that also, would you be included in that lower
That's
rate?
not for businesses, so,
So much.
That is for hospitals.
Council, any other questions? Citizens, any questions? Anyone? Thank you.
Mayor, I did miss the second. Who made the second on that?
Mike.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Lowry. When you're ready, sir, if you call for the vote.
Mayor McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Zambach?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry?
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher?
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry?
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Before we go on, I just want to only, emergency ordinance, we need to have, what, 5 votes, is that correct? On emergency, at least 5 for that?
Yeah.
I just wanted to qualify that to know for sure on what we needed. Okay, thank you. When you're ready, Mr. Carter?
Ordinance 14-14, introduction tonight, public hearing in action on 4/21/14. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Miami Valley Lighting LLC for street lighting services for use on public grounds and streets in the city of New Carlisle.
No, we don't, that's introduced tonight. Thank you. Mr. Carter, if you're ready, go ahead, please.
Ordinance 14-15, introduction tonight, public hearing in action on 4/21/14. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement with Greco Americas Corporation for the leasing of a copier for use at the sheriff's substation. Ordinance 14-16E, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance employing a finance director and declaring an emergency.
Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
make a motion to adopt ordinance 14-16E.
Second. Yeah, I know, right?
You have to be faster.
I know.
This is self-explanatory, I think.
In the holster right here.
Up for the third time.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anyone? Question? Audience, any questions? Thank you. If you call for the vote, sir?
Mr. Mike Lowry,
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Well, I'd say I'm having second thoughts, but we've already voted on it twice, so yes.
Can't say that.
Can't say that.
No, you want. Mr. Zambach,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher.
Yes.
You could have said, I know I voted once on it, but now I'm going to vote no, or they do that.
I could have.
So pass 7-0.
Yes, it did, pass
Thank you
7-0.
so much. Appreciate that. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Just wanted to let everyone know that she was here once before as an assistant. Is that correct? Did a wonderful job. I think I was on council then. Mr. Lowry, I think you were. Were you, Mr. Zambach? And we're pleased to have you back, and thank you for coming back. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Perfect timing.
Okay. Mr. Collier, other business, would you like to read that, please?
Yes, I would. As soon as I find it here. Okay, there it is.
Let's see if we have any other business first. Anybody have other business to go? Yes, we do. City manager has some.
I meant to bring this up under the city manager's report, but I had moved my note and didn't see my reminder. I did have a meeting this week with 2 members of our potential levy committee, and we discussed, several items came up, and we thought it might be a good idea to sit down with council again to throw around some more ideas. I'd like to invite the public to come, and we want input from the public to give us ideas. I don't know how much you want me to talk about now, but
I think it would be good for the work session to be able to
Yeah.
talk about it, but we just need to set a date at this point, correct?
Right,
Did you have a
right.
date in mind? See if that agrees with council? Probably be one of our off Mondays, is that what you had in mind?
well, there's an off Monday next week, but Impact Bethel has a function, and I didn't really want to mess up their function. So I don't know if you want to wait until the next open one would be the 28th of April.
28th is a Monday at 6:30, would that work for everyone? Council?
Kind of late. Is that too late for you as far as getting everything?
No, we
No,
still have, we have plenty of
not going
time,
till November.
I'm trying to keep it moving, so,
Okay.
so the yes. So 6 to 8 or 6:30?
I think 6:30. Council, 6:30 or 6?
6:30.
6:30? 6:30 for
Okay,
everyone.
the 28th of April, Monday at
Okay.
6:30. Thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot to bring that up.
You got a question? Yes,
Yeah,
go
Ms.
ahead.
Jones, I have a question about the committee. If people still wanted to be on that,
Please.
or where they can do that, and
Yes.
they would just call the city building.
Yes.
Motion for
You
the
got a question? Go ahead.
We need a work session to set them, we need
Oh, we need a motion
set
to
the
be able to
work
do that?
session.
Let's do that
The
first,
work
Mike.
session.
Second.
Mr. Lowry, first and second. Sorry?
Mr. Mike Lowry, did you make the second? Is that you?
I guess, if I'm allowed.
Shake your head like this.
We could go senior and junior, how's that?
Okay, all right. Okay, this is a motion for a work session on April 28th at 6:30 PM, correct?
Here at the Shelter House.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mr. Zambach,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher.
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay, now, did somebody have a question on
Yes,
that?
I
You
do.
had a question?
Oh,
I think Mr. Lowry Jr. would first like that.
Kim, I heard you recently, you were talking about getting the new city website up and
Right.
retooled and whatnot. The new water billing system coming up and the way we can read it, is there any chance of getting,
I wrote that on my notes to ask Jason.
if we can get the
A link?
website to pay the water bills through our website?
Well, that's something Bill had brought up too. So yeah,
Okay.
that's something we're looking into as we redo it.
Yeah, I think you said that was something we were looking at different companies, and we met with some people at Enon and talked with them about it, and there was a whole bunch of logistical issues, that's what you're saying.
So Enon does it, I'm assuming?
Enon just started doing it, and I think they got a new company that does it. We'd have to talk with, forgot his name, who's now the mayor.
Chris Lore.
Yeah, we were discussing that, so.
I just think it'd be a big plus. I mean, a lot of people are paying
Sure.
bills online and with their cell phones and
Yep.
on the go, so.
So that would be with a credit card, debit card, that type of thing. If we
don't,
could
just
set that
real
up.
preliminary, yeah, I would
If we can
think
set
it would
that.
be. Yep.
Mr. Lowry, you had a question also?
Yeah, for the audience, I see a whole lot of high school kids in here. How many of you seniors?
Holy moly.
Wow, that's something to say. If you were listening, I'm sure all of you were, because I haven't seen any fellas' cell phones, you was texting, that's okay. I'm just teasing. But seriously, on a serious note, you just heard the city manager and they're talking about a work session. Did you understand what that was for? It is to raise money for police protection in the city, which would alleviate some money from the general fund for streets. I would like to see someone who will be graduating in what, 2 months? Some of you will be staying here, working, looking for a job, maybe going on to further education, I don't know. But at your hometown, we would like to hear some of your input. I would like to see a bunch of you here. How about seeing some hands of somebody that would really like to come and maybe put some input on this, some fresh, young ideas. It's your police department in your city. Nobody would enjoy coming and talking about it. Wow.
My son's already educated, so I've already educated my son on the whole process, so he didn't.
If we could get that to a cell phone app, it'd be
Yeah.
Tweet it.
Yeah, come on out and, you know,
Make sure you have a question.
and let's hear some of the ideas. You know. Fresh ideas are always good. And we need all the help we can get. Thank you.
Okay, other business, Mr. Reynolds, you have something?
Yeah, we just discussed the new website. I was wondering, are we still looking into putting our council meetings on YouTube? I know when we first came on, we talked about it, so it's been a while since we've mentioned it again.
We're working on it,
All right. Well, that's my only question.
putting it on YouTube so the tape recording can be on YouTube.
Anyone else, any other council members, other business?
We're gonna do the website steps at a time, so it's not a huge bill for the city.
All right.
And Jason asked how much we wanted to budget each month, so he thought he could get pretty much a lot of my list done with that amount. So he's just gonna start chopping away at it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Audience, anyone, any questions on anything, other business? Anyone have a question? I have an announcement. Those of you who came in a little later, if you have these to sign for us, we need your name and the date on them, please. Before we'll sign them, if you would please put that on when the time comes. Mr. Conner.
Still need to do the other business. So,
Right.
cool. I didn't know if you were.
No, I was just putting that comment out to do that. Any other questions, anyone? Mr. Collier, if you would, if you go ahead and read that now, please.
City offices will be closed on Good Friday, April the 18th. There'll be a joint government meeting Monday, June the 30th at 6:30 PM at Tecumseh High School. And add to that will be the work session here at Smith Park Shelter House on Monday, April the 28th at 6:30 PM to discuss a police levy. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Executive session, there's none tonight. I wanted to thank you all for being here this evening. It's nice when we're sitting up here and we actually see some other faces out there.
We don't love you guys.
Makes it feel like that we're actually here and doing something. Mr. Zambo.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
before I motion our adjournment, I would like to tell you, Anybody sitting at this table can sign your forms for you. And now I move we adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Especially Michael, he's really good at signing.